Today, I'm going to out myself because I learned a lesson that has been blocking me probably the whole time that I've been in business. And I just recognized it today. And it's sneaky because you can be experiencing a whole lot of success and not realize that that next level, the place that you want to get to, not because of anybody else, not because of any of those outside factors, but literally you yourself want to get to this level because you know that you've seen it for you. But you've easily kind of marked through certain milestones, carrying some beliefs running in the background. And it feels like once you get to that level where it's like now you're not just taking steps up the ladder, you're moving into a space of the top 1%, the top 2%. And that feels like a giant leap from where you are to where you want to be. And that one thing that I realized is that I have been engaging in this default thinking. Why it's sneaky is because I don't experience it in every area of my life. Obviously, I've created a lot of success in my life because I was solution oriented and I didn't allow certain no's or certain closed doors, meaning that I couldn't do the thing. I can think of so many times in my life where it did not make sense, yet I had it so fixated in my mind that I was going to do this, whatever it was, get into this school, even though we didn't have the money, get these job offers, even though I miserably failed one the year before, buy this car when I don't even have, you know what I'm saying? The job to do it when I was getting my first car. All of those things were moments that didn't make sense. And I embraced those with pretty much no hesitation. And I attributed some of it to, I don't know if this is a phenomenon or a theme that's already been identified, but the younger version of yourself often, to me, is the most brave because you don't have any reference points of why this couldn't work, right? The reason why, as we get older, it's wisdom that we're giving to the younger generation because we've been through things and seen things, but the benefit that they have is they haven't. So while yes, we make a lot of mistakes when we're younger, we're also the bravest because we just go after things because we don't think there could be a failure. And one thing that I recognize within myself is that slowly but surely, as I have experienced things that I have used to be like these pillars. I was talking to my friend about this and it was just so visual as I was sharing it with her. It's like some of the thoughts that we have are like these huge pillars in our mind. It's like, this is firm. This is what it is. This is what it has been. This is what it's going to be. And pillars, when you think about them, they're these huge structures that do not seem movable, right? And before we know it, we've created these pillars in our mind, and everything that we're doing is like navigating around these pillars. Just imagine a field with just these pillars. Instead of going straight forward, it's like, oh, we got to go around this thought. Oh, we got to go around this thought. Oh, we got to go around this thought again and again and again. And what I recognized when I was talking to her and today is like these pillars are keeping me from getting to the straight line of A to B because it's all colored in with these strong rooted beliefs that I'm not necessarily daily choosing, but in my actions, in my default thinking, I am. Let me give the example of where it really popped up for me today. I was getting coached on a particular area of my business that I'm wanting to expand in. And I was just really honest with why I felt like it hadn't happened yet, or why I haven't fully went into this space yet. And as I was going through it, I'm like, oh, because for how many ever months, weeks that, this has been an opportunity, my mind has been saying, I don't know how, I can't, so no, right? It was just no, that's the pillar, no. If we can't figure it out quickly, if it's not making sense, if I keep hitting my head against the wall because I can't figure it out, then it's just no. And I'm just going to default to what I've been doing. I'm not going to explore this because yes, it could be good, but also I it's not coming clear to me. So, no. And it made me, as I was challenged on this, I'm like, but this isn't like, it isn't something new for me to think about how and to be resourceful, because when I've decided in the past that I was going to do things, it was really a true like cut off all other options. We're going to figure out some kind of way. What is different about this? And the only thing that I can think about, like I said, that's different is just these pillars, these experiences. And so it takes effort to finally say, you know what? I'm not going to be in that default thinking anymore. To just say no and continue to spiral and swirl on it or whatever, but really just sit down for a minute and just think about how. It doesn't have to be this long drawn out process to uncovering, what it is, because that's another a part of this is like, okay, now I got to sit down and, uncover, self-coach myself and get to the bottom of it. And I would avoid that too, because that felt like time I didn't have. Let me focus on whatever I can create now instead of slowing down to figure out what that key issue is, or not even issue, what that open door is and what the solution could be. So I realized, one, it didn't have to take forever to get to that point. Just ask that question. How could I do this? How could this make sense? What could I do? How many solutions do I actually have? My mantra that I created this week for myself is I always have more solutions than problems. So if I'm putting that in my mind, all right, there's this thing that I want to get to. Here's what I want to do. How can I? I thought about this tool that I'm going to use for myself tonight is list out at least 10 different ways of how you could, because again, the brain stops at, I don't know, or this one way that I don't want to do it. And it's like, that's my only option, but it's not. Because I always have more solutions than problems. So if I have one issue, I have at least 10 different solutions that I could look at. At least. And if my mind is only zoned in on one particular way, I'm not doing myself a disservice. I'm not honoring the mind and the brain that I have to see possibilities. Let me bring this around to what I see when it comes to people getting into the corporate space. I've seen a lot of people who would absolutely kill it in the corporate space. Brilliant, have all the things that could easily translate to an organization. And I could say something, or they could see something about corporate and their mind just, no, it doesn't work for me. No, it's going to take too long. No, it takes 12 months. Oh, like everything is just shut door pillars. And I could just see it. It's like, now that I've seen it for myself, I'm like, oh, I get why people have those thoughts, because I have them the same about my stuff. So it's no different for people to have their pillars about things, in their world. And that's their understanding. That's a pillar that you've established that is going to take this, and this is why you can't do it. But that's not true. That's not really the overall sentiment of it. And I know a lot of people think that. That's why I brought it up, that it's going to take forever to get these deals done. What if it didn't though? Like, what if it didn't? That's one outcome. That's the power of this. That's literally one outcome, that it could take 12 months to do it. Okay, then there's at least 10 other outcomes and scenarios of how this could play out with true evidence of people who have done it that could happen as well. So it's not 100% true that that's what it takes to get a deal done. Because I could just, me being a person who's in this space, I could rattle off 10 different ways that it doesn't have to take 12 months. You could get a speaking gig for an event that happens 3 months from now. That didn't take 12 months. You could reach out to a university and, just like a client that I had, book a deal in 2 weeks. That didn't take 12 months. You could sell a curriculum or a book that you already have to an organization. That's not going to take 12 months. So I could think of many different ways to get to the same outcome without it being that pillar. And what I recognize of how valuable it was for people to mirror my pillars to me Is that something that I can do for my people? Because I think what eliminates the pillars is when you have gone through it enough to see what the truth actually is. The pillars exist when there's ignorance. Let's just put it like that. When there's ignorance. And like I said, I have it too. Because I haven't seen something a certain way, this is the pillar that I believe. But the reason that we have mentorship, the reason that we have people who've been through things and are examples, are for them to smash our pillars. That's what happened when I was getting coached. I was like, oh, wow, you just really smashed, like you came through with a sledgehammer and just in one fell swoop, knocked that pillar down. So I can't even say nothing. I can't even, I got nothing for you because you just basically dismantled the entire belief that I had just by saying one thing. What if it was this? Well, I never considered that because my mom was only here. So it was a lesson to me to go after the thing that I was challenged with, but also a lesson for me to continue to share and be the sledgehammer for the pillars that I know about that exist in people's brains, and just be that sledgehammer to say, nope, that don't work. That's not true. Who said that? But here's this receipt. So is that actually true? And remove the path that is crowded so it can be a simple A to Z pathway. I have to respond to this. So you might be watching this video. I have to respond to this, but I just came to mind as I was talking. I was talking with someone and she was sharing how she's going after this opportunity. Well, she was going after this opportunity and they were excited and all of that, but then their budget was much lower than what she expected, right? And really what her expertise is worth. And she's like, I really could use that amount, but I really didn't feel like that was a value and respectful, to my services and travel and all of this. Why I thought of that is because even the thinking that, oh, I could use this, I'm glad that she didn't end up doing it, right? Because sometimes that need can be a bit elusive. It can be a pillar in our minds, because as I was looking over it, I'm like, you basically would have been paying, like they would have paid, what's the right way to say it? You're paying them essentially to be able to do this, right? And she's like, before I would have been wanting to do it for visibility and all of that, but I decided to say no. And I'm like, that makes sense, because even though in your mind, there's this thing of like, I need money, I need to get this, I need to get that. It's like, but you're in those instances, you're giving away, you're paying them. By the time you do all of that in person, it just doesn't make sense. But that's a pillar often in our minds that we have to navigate, of like this need thing. And again, even I have to work on this. Like, I'm not saying I'm above it. Like, I have to work through this idea of it has to be this way and I need it to go this way. And no, I don't. I really don't. Because, and this is something that my friend and I were saying, we are the means. And it's something that one of my coaches has said as well. She says it like, I am the money. And I see that so much more clearly now, because when we actually think about it, if I just think about her example, your years of expertise, what it costs you to be able to develop this, there is no way you should ever cheapen your services like that. And it's kind of like holding on to maybe some collector's item or something, and you're like, oh, well, I want to sell this so I can get the money from it. But it's like, if you give it away for a cheap price, you've basically like paid them to take the thing. We never want to be in a situation like that. No matter what it is, no matter at what level. I think that default thinking can apply no matter what level that you are. It's like, oh, I have to get this, thinking about people who, you lost a lot of contracts. And I've talked with people like that who had tons of government contracts at the top of last year. They're gone. So it's like, I need to make something work. And it's like, do you though? Like, is that, and this is me talking to myself, was the value in those contracts, or was the value in what you have to offer? Because you are holding this priceless jewel that's never left you the whole entire time. People want it. So it's like finding out who exactly wants it now. It doesn't change who you are. It doesn't change the value of who you are just because external situations happened. Now it's like, who else needs the jewel? Who's going to pay for the jewel that it is? Not a cheap version of it just because I feel like I got to make something happen. And again, preaching to the choir, because I have to talk myself out of that. I think that it's important for us to stay in the mind frame of like who really holds the value, even in where I began this of like this default thinking, oh, I can't do this, or I don't have this, or I have to stick here. All of that is still in the same vein. Because when I really think about what I have to offer, what you have to offer, there are many different ways that it could be packaged. And there are many different people. There are more people to serve than there are of me. Okay, government contract. There are more corporations. There are more clients to serve than me. There are more clients than Kirsten's. There's only one me with my unique story, my unique expertise. It doesn't matter what other people do that could be similar. There's only one me. So surely, I think this is like a sales term or something. Like, as long as there's one of me and two of you, there's demand. Like, that's it. As long as there's two other people who want this, there's demand, because there's only one of me. So this lesson today is more of a reflective, what I learned, what I am moving through and walking through, even in my own journey to my 10x version of myself, going through my own pillars in my head of things that I believed this is how they had to be, and just letting them get sledgehammered out the way so that I can achieve what I desire, and also looking at what I have that can be a sledgehammer to those who are part of my community. As always, if you don't want this time to end, check out this next video. Be sure to subscribe and comment. Let me know what resonated for you in this video. This was more just open transparency, talking you through, sharing with you to join me along the journey of my own development and how I'm getting out of my own way and leveraging my support and resources to do that. So let me know what came up for you in this conversation. What else do you guys want to hear me talk about? I want to hear in the comments all the things. Today is day 51 of my consistent days on YouTube, and I couldn't be more grateful for this journey. Even today, I was kind of like, I don't know what I want to get on. I don't know what I want to say. I got this hat on again, but I'm just locked into the repetition of it. And my milestone is to now get to 100. I'm almost at 60, 90, and then 100 is my goal for just my own consistency, practicing my voice. This is helping me develop out some of my speaking topics and things that I want to share. So I thank you all for being along the journey of me just being me, getting on here, sharing some things about contracts that are tactical, and sharing some things that are related, but just who I am and what I believe. So I appreciate you for rocking with me. Subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.